We can do it this way? Okay. 1, 2, 3. Take a look at the person next to you. Say, I recognize the God in you. Feel the love in the sanctuary. Lift your voice and repeat after me. We come together, we come together, we come together in the name of love. We come together, we come together, we come together in the name of love. Look at the person next to you. Said God loves you and I love you too. Feel the love in the sanctuary. Lift your voice and repeat after me. We come together, we come together, we come together in the name of love. We come together. Together, we come together in the name of love. In every walk of life, in kinship we unite, in honor of the God in each other. Take a look at the person next to you. Namaste, I bow to you. Feel the love in the sanctuary. And lift your voice and repeat after me. We come together, we come together, we come together in the name of love. We come together, we come together, we come together. We come together, we come together, we come together in the name of love.
Oh yes, what a wonderful way to start our service. Thank you very much. Should we let them know how much we love them? That is one of my favorite songs. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living, Santa Rosa. I'm Nancy Reynolds, a member and former trustee at the center, and as always, very happy to be sharing Sunday morning with all of you. Welcome. I'd like to extend a special welcome to anyone joining us for the first time or the first time in a while and say thank you for being with us. And I want to be sure that you and everyone knows that your children are welcome here too. We just recently brought back our youth program. It's very exciting. It's off to an amazing start. And I'd like to share with you what's going on. We have childcare available for infants and toddlers and special, fun, spirit-filled programming available for elementary school and middle school children. That's all during our 11 a.m. service. We're also working hard to get info about the teens in our community so we can get the teen group back up and running. If you know any teens who are looking for a safe place to be themselves and make new friends and also learn new ways to connect with Spirit, we would like to hear from you. You and your children and grandchildren can be together here in the sanctuary during Sunday services. There's also a family room in the back and a coloring table out in the social hall, just in case the children aren't quite ready to dive into the youth program yet. There's a place for them at all times. Parents, if you'd like to learn more about this and get plugged into the program, our youth coordinator, Jennifer Caldwell, would love to talk with you. She'll be in the social hall after services today. And you can also email her at youth@cslsr.org. Now, before I go any further, I want to make sure I say hello and welcome to our live stream viewers. I want you to know that we always know that you're here with us, and we are so grateful for you being here online. If you are watching on YouTube or Facebook, we'd love for you to find the share button at the bottom of the screen and share this with your friends and family. That helps us get the message of Science of Mind out into the world and also let people know what's going on at our center. Thank you. If you'd like more information about what's going on at the center, you can go to our website, that's cslsr.org. And what you'll do is look for the comprehensive list of everything that's going on at the center. The list is called the Information Pages, and you'll find it under the photo of the typewriter. Click on that, you'll find everything that you need. Also, I want to mention, if you're new to our community and you'd like to know what we're all about, you can stop by the information table in the social hall and pick up a copy of the What We Believe pamphlet. And you could also email Linda Han, and she'll email a copy to you. At the Center for Spiritual Living, Santa Rosa, we are motivated by a vision of a healthy, loving world. It's called the Global Vision. And it calls on us to imagine, I love this phrase, a world that works for everyone. I'd like to share with you a few lines from that vision. We envision humanity awakening to its spiritual magnificence and discovering the creative power of thought. A world where each and every person discovers their own personal power and ability to lead a creative individual life that works within a world that works for everyone. We follow this vision through the 5 core spiritual practices of our teaching, and I'd like to ask, if you would, to read them with me. They are spiritual study, affirmative prayer, meditation, selfless service, and spiritual circulation. Thank you. I trust that somewhere between the music, the meditation, the prayer, the practices, and the message from Reverend Tara, that you'll find exactly what you're looking for the next step of your spiritual journey. Again, welcome, and thank you for joining us. Now, if you would, please enjoy this next beautiful piece of music from our band that will lead us into a time of silent contemplation.
Lover of my soul and keeper of my spirit, nothing can separate us, we are one. Won't you sing with me? Oh, lover of my soul and keeper of my spirit, nothing can separate us, we are one. We are one, oh, we are one. Nothing can separate us, we are one. All nations on the earth and all life upon the planet, nothing can separate us, we are one. We are one, oh, we are one. Nothing can separate us, we are one. Oh, we are one, nothing can separate us. We are one.
Spirit holds all of life in an infinite circle of love, wisdom, and healing. For it is an infinite field of pure potential, making all things new and creating this mystery that we call life again and again. So all of existence, and even that part of existence that we may not be familiar with, all of existence, all life, all that we know is part of this amazing tapestry of the divine presence, breathing the same breath, sharing the same mind, living the one life. This is the truth for all of us here, for our online viewers, and for all people everywhere. And as we celebrate today with the message and the music, I know that it enriches us, lifts us up, and as we receive these gifts, our world expands. As all of this is divinely guided, I know that our center, our youth and family ministry, and all of our programs flourish and thrive. And we live in freedom, guided by the One. We are made vibrant, healthy, and whole. And for these gifts, I am thankful. And I release this word, and so it is. Good morning. I'm Reverend Sayota, your spiritual support minister, and please join me in today's affirmation. I am expressing my divine calling right here, right now. And now it is my great joy to share a special announcement with you. 20 years ago, 7 of our members became licensed practitioners, and today they receive the award and recognition of receiving their emeritus status. For 2 decades, they have been active, loyal, and supporting practitioners, enthusiastically engaged in many activities to support our center family. So today we honor them and appreciate each of them for their leadership, loving hearts, and service. And you can see them on the slides behind me as I share their names. Barbara Jo Aloyas, Betty Smith, and Brenda Cobran. Hanya Popova Parker and Katrina Borneman. Pamela Jasper and Rose Barbosa. To each of them I say thank you for your many gifts and service, and I appreciate you with love.
The power of now is always present, nowhere to be than where you are. The power of now flows oh so gracefully. The power of now is always perfect, nothing to be than who you are. The power of now flows oh so easily. Be willing to let go of everything you think you need to know. Be strong enough to let go of everything you think you need to control. For everything goes away. Let everything wash away. The power of now. The power of now is ever flowing, connecting us all to the one. The power of now unfolds so peacefully. Be willing to let go of everything you think you need to know. Oh, be strong enough to let go of everything you think you need to control. For everything goes away. Let everything wash away. The power of now. The power of now. The power of now. The power of now.
Thank you all very much. Good morning. This morning I'll be talking about flow. And one of the key elements of being in flow is being present to what is. So I invite all of us to take a moment now to simply settle in grace and community with the peoples of Syria and Turkey in their turmoil and their struggle, knowing that what is needed will come. Thank you. So, my topic, as I mentioned, is Inquiring Minds Want to Flow, which is kind of a cute take on the usual phrase, Inquiring Minds Want to Know. As is often my style, I have yet another little adjustment to that phrase. It's not just inquiring minds that want to know. It's all of who we are that wants to flow and know, mainly to flow. So I welcome you into that conversation on flow with every bit of you. Let's start with what flow is. According to Professor Richard Husky at the University of California, Davis, Department of Communication and Cognitive Science, flow is a state of peak enjoyment that occurs when you are doing something that is difficult, that you are highly skilled at. There speaks a social psychologist. Mihai Csikszentmihalyi, a psychologist, is the author of Flow, a seminal work on the topic. Among the additional qualities that he lists are complete concentration on the task, transformation of time, either slowing down or speeding up, effortlessness and ease, and that actions and awareness merge, losing self-conscious rumination, aka worry. Both lists are missing something. Inspiration. The presence of something more than our separate selves, that aliveness, that transcendence, that is actually the grace that moves us into flow. We can't make flow happen. It's a gift of that all in all in all. Though we can't make it happen, we can help to open ourselves to be more receptive to it. And that's a lot of what I'll be talking about this morning. The first element is okayness. I use that intentionally because sometimes I get a little squirmy around perfection, but I'm okay with okayness, and I invite you into that same awareness, knowing that you are okay just the way you are. I asked Christopher to play Faith Rivera's song, The Power of Now, because it speaks so beautifully to that sense of okayness and being in flow. Here are some of her lyrics. The power of now is always present, nowhere to be other than where you are. The power of now flows so gracefully. The power of now is always perfect, nothing to be other than who you are, the power of now flows so easily. The concept of nowness is one that I have struggled with, despite the wisdom of Faith's words. I tend not to get lost in the past, but oh my goodness, the future. All those things I need to plan for and get done, my worries, my anxieties, that's going to be so cool when I get to do that. Off I go into the wild blue yonder of not nowness. I've been reading a book lately, a memoir of someone who's walking or have walked the Camino. The author came to recognize that it wasn't about getting the Camino done, checking it off her list. It was about being with the experience of the Camino. Being, not doing. Being in the now. Being with what is, not the way we wish things might be. Meeting that isness in the moment, clearly, freely, without all the noise and chatter of our minds. I have finally come to a practical way to being in the now, because it's one of those themes that is so much a part of this teaching. Are you in the now or are you lost somewhere else? Oh, I'm in the now, I'm in the now. What the heck is the now? Here's what I have come to do. What takes me out of the now is what I'm thinking about something that has happened, good or bad, that impacts me, or something that's coming in the present, in the future. So there's all this judgment, all of this expectation, all of this comparison that I'm back in the past or I'm in the future. If I let that go, the only place I can be is in the present moment. So that's become how I practice being in the now. It's way easier than trying to figure out how I stay in this arbitrary time called now. You're welcome to take that on if you want. So in addition to being curious about what's going on around you, present to it, it's also really important to be present to yourself with loving curiosity and presence. That's another part of being here in this moment. Father Richard Rohr, a Franciscan priest and philosopher theologian, suggests this about inner practice. Contemplation is an exercise in keeping your heart and mind space open long enough for your mind to see other hidden material. Your mind and heart stays open, not judging, not labeling, not comparing, long enough for your mind to see other possibilities. And I would add, long enough that your entire being knows other possibilities. The next element in setting the stage for flow is practice. Why do we always say, practice, practice, practice? Well, one reason is because it helps you develop your skills of focus, attention, awareness, and to integrate that practicing so that it becomes a part of your everyday life. So that when you need that moment of mindfulness somewhere where your cushion isn't, you have your virtual cushion in your mind and you settle in with a breath, and there you are. That's why practice matters. I want to add to this exhortation to practice, practice, practice. Despite my best intentions, I often find myself judging the quality or the frequency of my spiritual practice. Is that true for anyone else in the congregation? Yeah. There are times when I beat myself up quite a bit about what I do or don't do in my spiritual practice. That has no value. It's important to remember that Spirit isn't grading us on our spiritual practice. Spirit loves me just the way I am and just the way I am not. All of those voices have nothing to do with how Spirit knows and expresses as me. They're just a bunch of words rambling in and out of my mind, having no value, none whatsoever. Because again, they take me out of the possibility of flow, of that ease and grace and gift. A friend of mine shared an experience he had one time when he was meditating. He was settled into his chair and happened to have a leg up on the ottoman and was getting ready to practice, and he suddenly went, "Oh my gosh, this isn't the proper meditation posture. It feels comfortable, but I should have both of my feet on the floor." And then he smiled. He heard in his mind, how you practice is perfect for you. You're practicing. That's perfect. Where your feet are, that's not nearly so important as your being here for your practice. So I invite you to remember that too. Spiritual practice is lovely. It doesn't have to be disciplined and serious and burdensome and, oh my God, always at the right exact moment for just the right amount of time. All of those measures can be important if they're meaningful to you, but please don't take them on expecting yourself to be more okay if you do. You are already okay. And if you're okay, flow is a possibility. Besides okayness in practice, a third element that supports flow is self-awareness. Who are you? What do you believe about yourself? Gently, with curiosity, not judgment, check in on what you tell yourself. Are they supportive thoughts? Neutral thoughts? Negative thoughts or comparisons that judge? What do you believe about yourself? Not just the core teachings of science of mind that as a good religious scientist, of course you believe. Rather, those little voices in your head that every now and then just start chipping away at your sense of worth and value, which in fact is always going to be intact. Human beings are unique expressions of life. That's why in your self-awareness, it's also important to know what sings your heart. As Dr. Edward phrased it last Sunday, imagine asking the wisdom center within you silently, in your own mind, with gentle curiosity, with playful adventurousness, and without forcing an answer of any kind. What if I spent a little more time doing what I absolutely love to do? What if? Get to know what sings your heart. Each of us has unique melodies. Here's an example for me. I used to live in San Francisco and loved to go sailing on the San Francisco Bay. There are two basic ways that you sail a boat. One is with the wind behind you, with the sails wide open and a sense of ease, often actually, even in San Francisco, basking in the sun. It's quiet and still, and there's not even a sense of wind because it's moving with you. And so it's peaceful and calm. It's called running with the wind or going downwind. The other way of being propelled by the wind in a sailboat is to sail into the wind, to find that sweet spot in about 30 degrees where there's this exquisite sense of oneness with the wind and the boat and the sail. You feel the wind. At the tiller, though, if I were in that, what is called beating into the wind, there came a moment when I was absolutely one with all of it and could hold the tiller with a fingertip because the boat and the wind and I and the sails were so one. Most people I know, I haven't taken a poll, so I'll just say many people really appreciate the run. When the wind is behind you, it's quiet and still, and the sun is warm. As you may have guessed, that's not my melody in my heart. I love the activeness, the challenge, and then the settling in to the collaboration with the wind. Some of you, were you sailors, would appreciate one and not the other. And so it is. Know your heart song. And don't pretend you like sitting, running along, nothing to do, if in fact you love beating into the wind. So now you know a little bit more about Reverend Tara. Also, when you look for what sings your heart, don't look outside only to what other people are doing or what other people expect of you. Focus on inquiring within. How do you want to feel? That matters. What would doing what you love bring to you? How would you feel? That's important. I encourage you, if you want to take up this practice, to find a word that describes that sweet spot for you, where all the elements of who you are, you recognize as coming together in the same way I noticed the wind and the sail and the boat. There are those places within us, and that's the heart of flow, where you are okay with yourself, you are practicing, and you know what matters to you. Each one of those elements is incredibly important. That last bit reminds me of a statement you've probably heard many times from this podium from Dr. Howard Thurman, a brilliant African-American theologian, philosopher, civil rights activist. This is what he says about what our purpose and what we should be doing is. Don't ask what the world needs. Ask what makes you come alive and go do it. Because what the world needs is people who have come alive. So those are the elements I want you to take to heart as you open yourself to the possibility of flow. Okayness, letting go of judging, comparing, less than, and all of that noise. Here's how one of my favorite authors, Mary O'Malley, describes the process. The core of our journey is about opening to what has been closed inside of you, so that the energy that has been bound up in your struggling self can be released, and you can know the joy of being fully alive. And practice. Here's another suggestion, to take up for a couple of minutes, not for a long, long time unless you choose to. Notice what's happening around you in the moment. And for a little bit of time, try to just notice it. Don't label it. Don't consider what it is. Just be with it. You can probably pull it off for maybe a second or two before your mind needs to label and take this vast, infinite allness and bring it to human scale. But every now and then, just consider isness, not your way of labeling and fixing what is. Fixing in the sense of locking it in what is. And finally, get to know yourself. I have so much more I could say about that, but instead I'm going to jump to Ernest Holmes, the founder of our teaching, The Science of Mind. He sums it up like this. If one would take the time, once a day at least, to let go of all that is not true and lay hold of reality, let go of the doubt, distrust, worry, condemnation, and fear, and lay hold of life in its expressions of beauty, truth, wholeness, their mental congestion would be healed. Keep the mind and body open to the reception of truth. Hold steadfastly to the thought that all of life is in a state of eternal flow. Relax your thought and allow the free flow of the life essence in and through you. Be with what is, present, open, blessed. I was going to talk about blocks to flow, but I think you probably all know what they are, and they're kind of tucked in amongst what brings us to flow. I'd rather stop for a moment and look at another metaphor for flow, jazz improvisation. It's a fascinating experience. I don't know how many of you have gone to experience jazz, but it's quite remarkable. Thanks to my writing partner, Google, I found a website over the weekend called Jazz Advice, and a fascinating article. Is improvising really improvising? Is improvising, being in the flow, really improvising? Here are some of the highlights from the article. The main takeaway: despite all of the psychologists and sociologists and theologians and everyone else, the essence of improvisation remains a mystery. There's something about improvising that's beyond labeling. There are some elements. For example, the musician's practice. Improvisation is spontaneous, created in the moment. That said, the musicians who do it have years of practice in their instruments, and they also have studied music theory. They bring that skill to what they do. There was a TED Talk embedded in the article about improvising, and all of the musicians who gave examples within that TED Talk were amazingly skilled and artful. Were they just getting to know their music, the improvising would not have flowed. Another element that the article mentions, musicians who play jazz and want to improvise, listen to what other musicians have done, what their solos are, how they've done different riffs and runs. Not to repeat them in their own improvising, but to have them kind of as fertile soil for whatever's going to emerge. And sometimes bits of what they've heard does come into their immediate improvisation, but not as that other musicians playing, but as something that has been transformed and created by them in the moment. It sounds a whole lot like being in the flow, being present with spirit. The fellow who gave the TED Talk was one of the musicians in the bandstand. And he had a few observations about the experience of improvising in that moment. He said, first of all, be in the moment. If you are improvising in a bandstand, you're not thinking about anything else but the music, the notes you hear, and how you play with them in the moment. The musicians also accept and create with each other. He had an interesting thing to say about mistakes. The only mistake in improvisation is if a note seems odd and we don't run with it. Then it's a mistake. When intentionally or otherwise there's a note outside the palette of the improvisation, that becomes a window into a whole nother layer of improvising, going with what is, not bullying and holding it into a box, which is the other piece of improvisation. If you bully it, form it, it can be a great piece of music, but it's not improvising, because improvising has that aliveness and that openness to what comes. Also sounds very much like our being in the moment, present, self-aware, and in flow. So in closing, my affirmation for you and me: know yourself and what matters to you. Be present, open to co-creation. Let it flow. Know yourself and what matters to you. Be present, open to co-creation, and let it flow. Please join me in prayer. Love, presence, wisdom, aliveness, the all in all called Spirit, beloved companion, God, and so many other names. That one that is the divine spark of life within me and within each person hearing this word. Unique expressions of the divine in each and every moment. I know for all of us, the depth of connection, the opening, the awareness come with ease and grace as we more and more recognize who we are, the gift we are, the beloved we are, that which we are, that I am, so resonant, so alive, so present. Resting in this truth, I am grateful and I celebrate how life unfolds, moment to moment to moment. This word is spoken, I have remembered, and together we say, and so it is. I do have one more quick suggestion for you before we move into our practice of circulation. If you would like an experience of practicing in spiritual community, very simple, sweet little practices that may deepen your sense of okayness, your self-awareness, and your ability to just be, I invite you to join me in a 10-week book study that starts on Wednesday, March 1st. I'll be out in the social hall, and there's also more information on the website. So now I've been talking about flow and what blocks it and what encourages it. Flow is a form of circulation, of giving, receiving, of noticing blocks to our awareness and our acceptance. And in this community, spiritual circulation is an important practice. We're now going to experience one example of that practice, giving from our financial good. But that's not the only way that this community gives and receives. We have volunteers, we have your presence, we have your prayers, we have your simply being, however you bring yourself to whatever it is you bring. So I thank you for all of that. I now invite the ushers to stand. And I invite you, as you're preparing your gift, to place your hand on your heart and repeat after me. I bless this gift. I send it forth to heal and prosper. It does amazing work in the world. And so it is. And for those of you who text to give or give in other ways, thank you too. Ushers, you may receive the gift.
Everything I need to know about what lies before me. Everything I need to know about what lies before me is available to me, is available to me through the mind of God within me. Everything I need to know about what lies before me. Everything I need to know about what lies before me is available to me, is available to me through the mind of God within me. Everything I need to know about what lies before me. Everything I need to know about what lies before me is available to me, is available to me through the mind of God within me. Everything I need to know about what lies before me. Everything I need to know about what lies before me is available to me, is available to me through the mind of God within me, through the mind of God within me, through the mind of God within me.
Another beautiful song. Thank you very much, gentlemen. All right, let's get into the flow of what's happening at the center. This month is Black History Month, and we at the center are thrilled to have Lawrence Edwards, Olivia Kinsler, Celeste Austin, and Calvin Johnson leading the discussion about diversity, equity, and inclusion every Wednesday in February on Zoom at noon. There is one exception to that schedule, and that is February 22nd, when the VISTA convention is happening at our center. And for that week, this conversation will happen on Friday, February 24th. This is a wonderful opportunity to learn about the many African American leaders who stand for justice and equality for all, and the contemporary issues they are addressing. I hope you'll join us. You just need to click on the photo of the Golden Gate Bridge on the website. I hope you'll stay with us today after the service for our monthly community event. It's called Love Out Loud, and it goes from 10 to 11. It goes until 11. And we are going to be creating crafty, bedazzled love intention cards for our center, which we'll put up on the wall in the social hall. Everyone is invited, kids, adults, and people like me who are kids trapped in adult bodies. In addition to the crafty project, there'll also be some sweet treats for you, along with the usual coffee and tea, and lots of love being expressed for our center and our community. I hope you'll join us for that too. I talked about our youth program at the beginning of the service. It's been growing quickly, and we need your help. We're looking for community members to join the program as teen advisors. If you have mentored teams in the past, if you have taken one of our foundational courses, and if you want to help create a welcoming, safe, and inclusive environment for our teens to dig in to the science of mind and grow together with one another, Jennifer Caldwell would love to talk with you. You can send Jennifer an email at youth@cslsr.org or speak to her after the service today. Do you find yourself in the middle of the week thinking maybe it'd be nice to have a little spiritual uplift, a little boost in the week? If that sounds like you, don't worry. We've got the Wednesday evening service for you for a midweek pickup. Now, you know that Reverend Russ makes freshly baked bread, right, every week. There's also tea and other goodies. And this time around, what we're doing is Dr. Edward is exploring the first chapter of the Science of Mind textbook, translated into plain English. Whew, thank goodness. Reverend Russ will also be sharing some beautiful guitar meditation music, and that's at 7 p.m. on Wednesday. And speaking of Dr. Edward, he will be teaching a class called Living the Serenity Prayer. That starts at the end of this month on Tuesday, February 28th at 6:30 p.m. The class will go through the famous Serenity Prayer line by line and examine how each word can inspire us to be more kind, compassionate, and loving in our daily lives. You can register on the website by looking for the link for the educational calendar. Oh, and this is the exciting part. This class is going to be hybrid, which means you can attend it in person at the center or on Zoom, whichever's best for you. Finally, I'm excited to announce that the amazing Reverend Cynthia James will be with us on March 5th. She'll be giving us our Sunday message, and she'll be teaching a workshop. The workshop is called Finding Your Voice, and it will be filled with all kinds of good stuff. For example, Cynthia will offer steps to attain your authentic voice, to navigate challenges, and to become fully present in your powerful being. This workshop, I think, is going to fill out fast, so I encourage you to register today and look for the photo of the butterfly on the website so you can do that. And now Reverend Tara will share our benediction.
Yeah. Actually, I'm first going to remind you that we have prayer on Zoom for those of you who are not available here in the sanctuary. And you can find it on the website, is probably the best thing I can tell you, cslsr.org for the link. And for those of you here at the center right now, you can go to the back right in front of the glass windows of the family room and check in with a prayer host who would be delighted to direct you to practitioners who will be sitting along the edges of the sanctuary after service. And now if you would, those who are able to stand and repeat after me. Something wonderful is happening to me right now. It is this thing called life. Life is in my mind. Life is in my body. Life is in my affairs. I think it, I feel it, and I accept it. Just the way that it is, and just the way it is not. Thank you, life. Know with me that you are never alone. That Spirit is right where you are. That you have only to look within at any moment to know that you are guided and inspired by a presence that expresses itself as you in this world. In deepest gratitude, let us live our lives accordingly, so that in everything that we say or think or do, we pay tribute to this idea, that the natural home of Spirit is in all creation. Thank you again for coming. I'll see some of you outside, and enjoy Chris's music.
I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart